Howse, holistic lifestyle coach at Shasta Wellness Studio in Invermere, British Columbia. Thanks for tuning in to my podcast. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Meet my special guest, Sarah Gibson, and Sarah is a makeup artist. I met Sarah probably about 7 years ago, and she said she had to come and see me and do a facial. I think I signed up for one of her free facials at some point. And so she came and made me feel beautiful. So I invited Sarah to the show today just to talk to her a little bit about what she is doing. She's very passionate, and she does a lot of Facebook Live videos. I always see them and tell her how proud I am to see her beautiful face on Facebook. And actually, we should do a little shout out to Speakeasy.
Yes.
Sarah introduced me to this amazing online program for, is it for ladies only?
No, she actually welcomes everybody.
Okay.
But most of the people in the group are ladies.
Yeah, it seems like I've only really been able to jump on a few times, and I have sincerely enjoyed Virginia. She does some morning meditations and then just basically consults us on how to be authentic with our marketing, whatever it is you do. And basically, the more authentic you can become, we attract those type of people to us, right?
Yeah. I was like, Pamela needs to know her. They need to connect.
I've actually connected with a few of the ladies from the group. I've had about 3 of them send me friend requests, and I actually did a call, my first Zoom call. One of them reached out and asked if I'd be interested in doing a Zoom call with them. So I got the Zoom app and I'm like, I'll have a chat with you. She just basically wanted to get to know me a little bit better. It's one of the organizers. And then she told me who I should connect with in the group, like who I should follow and watch for their videos, because there's a couple of them that are, into similar interests, like Reiki and the one girl, what does she talk about? The girl with the purple, like the blonde with the purple. She usually has like purple lipstick.
Oh my gosh. There's a few of them.
None of their names are coming to me right now, but I've been following her now, and I never have time really to watch the videos, but I see them come through my feed, and they're inspiring me just to put on bright colors and smile and, just keep on putting your best self out there.
Yeah, I actually, several of the girls that I met through live video challenges on Facebook actually connected me with Regina, and then I got into her group, and then I met even more people, and then it's just gone from there. I've been in that group for probably close to a year now.
Oh, you're kidding. Do you do the membership site?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
But it's definitely on my to-do list.
Yeah, I'm on the free trial right now, and with as limited time as I have throughout the day, mind you, this has been a really important thing for me to learn from her. So I have been scheduling in as much time as possible to do her lives and to go onto the website. So I have gone on and done a few of the courses on her website. Like, she has some videos that you can go on and just get to know yourself better so that you can promote more of who you are authentically, right?
Yeah.
And she talks a lot about branding and have you done any branding courses for yourself?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Well, it shows, because you stand out. Like, you have an authentic brightness to you as well. So
it's taken work, but it's gotten there.
Yeah. It's just getting through, I think, a lot of it, like your insecurities, so your true self can come through, right?
Yeah, the fear of what others might think is the number one thing that stops people. But then you have to realize that most of the people that are either on your social media or in real life, they like you. They've already seen how good you are. So once you get past that, it's a lot smoother.
Yeah, it's really connecting with those people that are truly on your team, and that empowers you even more. I know my last couple of podcasts with a few of the ladies have really, kind of taken me by surprise, where they've said, you're doing really inspirational stuff out there. I love watching you on social media. And I'm like, she never hits I don't know she's there.
Yeah.
Don't stop doing what you're doing. And like, oh, okay, finally, that pays off to that little reward, right? Because I do all my little inspirational, I don't know if you've noticed any of my quotes with my yoga pictures, right? Just my life coaching,
like
motivational.
You keep going and you're like, is anybody seeing this? Is anybody liking it? And then you get messages or people sit down with you and you're like, yes, like you see it.
Finally, yeah, that's kind of more rewarding than, well, I wouldn't say it's more rewarding than, 5 new clients, but it's just as nourishing and fulfilling to have a compliment as a paying client. You know what I mean? Like, it feels just as good. And Sarah, I reached out to Sarah because I knew she was into makeup and skincare when I opened the studio, because I had planned to offer facials. And as you know, I've been working in the industry for 2 years full time prior to opening the studio as an esthetician and a masseuse. Yeah. So I've been doing numerous facials and body scrubs and treatments and massages and manicures and pedicures. And my biggest wish with this wellness studio is, again, to be offering yoga daily, as well as some holistic spa treatments. So I decided, well, why not, since I've decided to plunge into yoga again daily, why not also offer to my clients some skincare and as well body treatments. So I reached out to Sarah and asked her, what do you have for skincare? How can I help other people or support other people in their beauty regimen? And so Sarah recommended Modere. Yeah. So I've gone through some Modere skincare sets, and I've had really positive feedback from my clients. They love it. What do you have to say about Modere?
Well, I didn't have any idea what the company was or who they were, and until probably, I'd say 3 years ago.
Okay.
But they've been around for over 30 years. And I was like, what? Like,
I had never heard about Modere before.
Yeah. So it's a green conscious company. They focus on green products. So safe for the environment, safe for animals, safe for us. And their whole focus is affordability to everybody, to every family. And then with the skincare, what I enjoy was the facial mask, which is one of my favorites, and that's just like a at-home luxury that anyone could have.
Are you using the oxygen mask?
Yes.
So I just have to say, I love the oxygen mask. I have my own personal set at home that my daughter and I use, and it's like champagne on your
champagne facial.
Your skin just fizzles and feels wonderful and delightful for like about 2 minutes before it kind of panters off a little bit. But that's my favorite part of the skincare. And my skin has been feeling great since I started using it regularly.
Yeah, it has a special technology that I don't even know the gist of. Basically, it gets the oxygen into your skin and it helps your skin start to repair itself. So you do start to notice fine lines are disappearing, dark circles, sun damage. So I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more about Sarah's skincare offerings, we can put up a link for your, do you have a link, like a special link for your skincare?
Yeah.
Okay. But moving on to makeup, that's what I am just loving to see with you and about you and to learn about. Are you busy this summer with weddings?
Yes, I actually had to turn down several weddings because they were all either on the same day or too close in hours. And most of my weddings happen in Fairmont, which is understandable because it's gorgeous. And then I've basically have booked from May all the way down to October, sorry.
Oh, good for you, Sarah.
Yeah, so it's going to be very busy and not a lot of weekends free.
And so do you go alone, or do you do hair as well, or do you have someone that does hair with you?
So I usually team up with Dana. She's at Sure Edge, and then she's the one I've actually worked with the most because she's mobile with hair, and I don't do hair. It's not my strong point. Plus, I'm usually doing 3 to 6 girls of makeup, so I don't have time to do the hair as well. I'm not quite that fast.
Yeah. So do you sell makeup as well?
Yeah. So I actually At first, I didn't want to get into that side of business because there wasn't anything on the market that I could get my name behind. So I went to school in Vancouver at Blanche McDonald, and we got introduced to all of these professional makeup lines. And I was like, I wish I could get this to my clients. I wish I could be like, this is exactly what I used on your face. This is how I used it. Here, you can order from me. Because it really sucks sending somebody to the mall and losing out on that commission. So I teamed up with Lime Life by Alcone.
Okay.
And Alcone has been in the makeup industry for over 6 decades now.
Yeah.
And they decided to launch into direct sales. And all of their makeup is professional grade. I don't even want to say grade, but quality. And the same people who work with Alcone, they're friends with the company. They've made the foundation and so much. They've taken out like the parabens and all the nasty fillers and allowed Alcone to carry it exclusively. So it's the same foundation I had in my kit, but now I can actually be like, this is your shade, this is the blush, this is everything, here's the list.
And they can just order online.
And they can just order online, and it gets sent to them. And it's not just order and then you never see me again. Like, I follow up with all my clients and I ask how they're doing. And I also have the online Facebook group that I got pushed to do, where I just teach makeup to the everyday woman and give them tricks. And
I think I'm in that group.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to favorite it though, because I haven't seen anything come up from it.
Yeah, so Facebook does hide your groups. So if you're noticing, like, if you had a private yoga group, you would have to remind people that they have to engage in the group, or else Facebook hides it. So they're a little tricky that way.
I think so. I've run a few challenges online, like nutrition and yoga, and I've noticed that, the first couple of days there's lots of people, and then you can see the numbers get smaller and smaller, and I'm like, where did these people go? So I'm trying to get them to learn how to favorite. So when they really want to stay on top of what the groups are teaching or proposing or challenging you to do, then you have to favorite your Facebook group page.
Yeah, and you have to check in.
You have to check in. And seriously, if you're going to support entrepreneurs like Sarah and myself, if you're really on our side, that's what you got to do, is interact more, hit likes.
It's not us, it's social media.
It's social media. And that way it'll help us to stay alive, right?
Yeah.
And we're totally passionate about people. That's probably what drives us to take more courses, to buy more makeup, to
try all the new things.
To put ourselves out there on social media. Because not only do we love what we do, but we love seeing supporting people through what we do.
Yeah, and serving as many people as we can while doing it.
Serving, and that's where, again, that reward comes in. It's not just the financial gain that's buying the juice. It's that communication and the community and the support, and that's where we get to put all of our art into motion.
Yes, yeah, a creative outlet, which I think we're both very much creative souls, where we need to be creating things almost nonstop, and being an entrepreneur allows us to do that.
Absolutely. It brings me to life. I love when I'm driven by my creativity. I love when I wake up with a workshop idea. Even the new podcast idea, it was just this idea that came to life in me, and it just brings me to life to have people here to share it with. And in the same sense, it just turned into this reciprocal, promotional component as well. So it's helping people that are entrepreneurs or people that have something to teach to put themselves out there. So videos are so cool because others have a chance to become attracted to what your offerings are. Yeah. Right?
And they get to see the person behind the social media, behind the highlight reel. They get to see you and be like, oh, it's a real person. That's what they're doing. And it just clicks more easily.
Yeah, but I have to say, honestly, since I did my first few Facebook Lives with the Facebook Live Challenge, I'm not doing them. I got so nervous. I was so nervous. I did a couple of half a minute ones even, and it's just so weird when you hit live. And I've had to like I did one little tour around the yoga studio one day as my first like little introductory to talking to the Facebook world, right? And I did it at least 100 times, maybe 110, and you know, simplified what I had to say. And as soon as I finally hit the live button, man, did I get jumbled up. And I was like, okay, thank God there's delete. Like whoever was on there that day, I apologize, because there were a few, as soon as I saw people jumping on, because you can see people jumping on. And then that's when my heart just raced and just seriously had a reaction to it.
That's probably like the initial like fear of going live, is because you get to see people who are jumping on and you're like, why aren't they saying hi? Why aren't they doing this? And if you go live again, if you have the challenge, like get up the courage, just take a sticky note and hide the number and then just keep talking.
Just keep talking. Well, what I'm trying to develop for myself is a connection to, you know, the other side of the screen, and to make it feel as comfortable as right now, where I'm talking to a friend or when I'm doing a yoga class. Like it doesn't even matter if I have strangers in my yoga class. When I'm in my yoga class, I feel very comfortable, very relaxed, very confident. Everything flows, you know, when you're in the zone.
So to make you feel better, I joined 2 video challenges. The first one, I did 3 videos in 1 week, and then I dropped off completely. The second one, I got about 3 weeks in and maybe 10 lives, and then dropped off again. And then it took until my third one where I actually finished it and did most of the days. So it does.
Girl. So it takes a few times.
Yeah, and then you find your tribe, and then people get used to seeing you go live because it's new for them too, because they're like, whoa, what are they doing? Like, what is Sarah doing? What is Pam doing? Why are they on live? Like, what's going on? And then they'll come to expect more lives from you.
It just becomes like a natural. It's not like you have to watch them. It's not, you're not bombarding people's news feed, right? Like you can scroll right past it, you know? And if you don't like, you know, some people, if they get annoyed because I post 5 motivational posts a day, then there's a button you can click so you don't see all my 5 posts a day, right? So I've learned that it's not me that's agitating. It's if they're getting agitated, that's other people's stuff.
Yeah. It's not you, it's them.
Yeah. And I have had a few people be kind of rude and say, well, you know, what, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, all you do is post this and that. And I'm like, so what? I'm like, am I not allowed to post 5 times a day?
I'd rather see the positive energy and the encouragement than a lot of the other stuff out there.
Right? It's like, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it. Like, how is that going to make the other person feel, right? At the end of the day. And I wish I could watch more of your stuff, but I'm here all the time and I don't have internet here. So I'm scared to hit a video when I have data on, because we pay so much for our data every month. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Canada.
It's just ridiculous. And yeah, I'm humming and hawing about getting internet here, but I'm already paying so much for my data. So when I'm at home, it's another story. I have internet, but then I also have children at home. So I don't have a mindset to sit. And the only few times that I've been able to actually watch Virginia in the morning is when A, my kids are sleeping in, or B, they're totally occupied. So, and that's very rare, which is why I haven't been able to catch many lives. And you're very brave. Like, you'll do it with your kids in the room. And I'm like, how does she do that?
So that definitely took practice. The first few times it happened, I was like, what are you doing? I'm trying to work. I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, what are people going to think? Like, all of it was going on. But then after a few, I was just like, whatever. My friends know I'm a mom. Most of my clients know I'm a mom. As long as they have clothes on or a diaper, like, it's fine. So
you're good with that. I'm not there yet. I'm just getting to the point where I can actually pull out a book and try to sit beside them and read, which usually doesn't go very well. It doesn't usually go very well. It just doesn't. They're just very active and, you know, always needing my attention. It's like, let's play hide and seek. Let's go on the trampoline. Let's have a tea party. It's like, oh my gosh.
Mommy needs 10 minutes.
When it was so funny when our little ones, like when Isabella would have been maybe 2, so 2 and Josie, you know, like 3 and 1 or something like that. And we'd always say, in 2 minutes, just give me 2 minutes. And then she started saying, Mommy, can you get me some juice in 2 minutes? Like everything she'd say, she'd add on the 2 minutes because she thought that's how you communicated, right?
Oops.
We need to stop saying in 2 minutes because, yeah, it's not an actual thing you have to say when you make a request or a statement. It's like, and you hear other parents say the exact same thing, like, just give me a minute, you know, in a second, just 2 minutes. It's like, but at least I'm past the rushing stage. You know, sometimes with kids, maybe you haven't hit it yet, but we always feel like let's go, let's get out the door, push, move, get in the car, let's go to the grocery store, rush. I just felt like I've felt myself not be that person anymore because I feel way more relaxed. Like I put myself in a mindset when I go to the grocery store now that I'll park the furthest away from the door. I'll take my time going across the parking lot. I'll always let someone cut in front of me in the lineup because if I switch into my like that stressed out state, I hate it because it does push onto my kids because then you get impatient with your kids.
Yeah.
When you're rushing and, you know.
Yeah, I learned very quickly not to go grocery shopping around nap time. Worst possible time for grocery shopping. So if we ever really needed something, I'm like, it can wait. Like,
let's not take the kids to the grocery store right now.
Yeah, let's avoid that meltdown because it will happen.
Yeah. No, I try. And I always give them second chances. But right now we're at a no going to the grocery store together because the last experience was hell on wheels.
Yeah, I don't know how my mom did it with 4 kids.
Oh, you have 3 siblings?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Are they around here? Or?
No, I'm the only one in the valley. The others are back in Calgary.
Okay. So how long have you been living in the valley for?
Just shy of 7 years.
Okay. And
well, yeah, I guess. Not including the year I spent in Vancouver.
So did you leave home to go to school in Vancouver? Or?
I actually... I moved out here to be with Lucas, and then on fluke I decided to apply for school, not thinking I would get in right away, and then within 2 weeks I got accepted, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I was like, I guess I'm going to school.
How long was the course that you took?
It was a year, so 12 months, and it's actually a 2-year diploma crammed into a year. So I was in class 3 days a week for 8 hours a day, oftentimes more than that because of all the cleanup and work you had to do. And then, yeah, they covered everything from special effects, airbrushing, TV and film, bridal, everything. And then I got certified to work on the film sets in BC and got my stage certificate to work, and I got basically they told me I was allowed to work on set and I wouldn't touch anything that I wasn't supposed to.
You know, it would be interesting to have you back one day, if you'd ever have time, is to come and do my makeup. And then when I do my next podcast, I can do a little commercial and say, do, 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 do.
Makeup by Sarah.
Exactly. Makeup by Sarah. I did a little bit of makeup training. The airbrushing thing is pretty cool. I've done a little seminar on that.
I wouldn't mind dusting off my airbrush.
Oh, you actually have one of the airbrush machines? Those are really cool.
Yeah.
I saw, what's her name from New York? Hannah.
Oh, I'm so out of the loop with all the current makeup artists.
Oh, okay. she's really cool. I can't think of her last name. I went to see a seminar with her last year in Edmonton. And I've done some makeup training, but it's definitely not my strong suit right now. I haven't been doing it for a little while. And but you know, maybe in the future I might get back into it again.
Yeah, so with the airbrush, I want to get back into it too because it would speed up bridal makeup.
Yeah.
Especially if it was more, if I got like, I call it my dream gun, and it's a 5-chamber airbrush. And that would allow me to do 5 different foundations, like without changing or cleaning the gun. So that's like my little nerd makeup.
And do you usually use makeup or mineral foundation or?
I use it's a liquid mineral foundation that I currently use, but I'll be switching over to the Limelight foundation, which is a wax based, and then it sits on top of the skin. It's basically gets you picture ready, film ready, and there's no flashback or anything. It looks amazing on camera too. So you won't have to worry about like somebody at your wedding taking a picture and then you're like, oh my god, I look horrible, like I'm sweaty or there's a glare or any of that. So
neat. I haven't heard of the wax. I've been using a lot of minerals, but like right now I have a mineral it's like a Body Shop one that I picked up, and it's so nice because you set it and then you spray water and it just retracts the light, right? Because that's what happens with the light. Well, you know, the mineral will just that's why
be blinding.
That's why pictures look so nice, because when I have my mineral foundation on, it
acts like it diffuses the light.
It diffuses the light, yeah. So when the light is like perfect, then the skin looks flawless, and my skin is definitely not flawless, like, but definitely with the right lighting, it looks beautiful. And so, yeah.
I do have the option for brides who are looking for mineral foundation. I do have that option, but most of the time they want their makeup to last from like basically 10 a.m. all the way to midnight. So mineral makeup usually doesn't have the staying power.
Yeah. Well, I like the idea of you doing little mini courses on makeup application. Like, I want to follow that because there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
And you can have so much fun with makeup. I'm in need of makeup. I think I've been using the same. You should see what's in my makeup bay. You would smack my hand. Like, it's unbelievable.
I'll tag you in my how to clean your makeup brushes.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's like I've been using the same colors. I'm stuck on the same makeup, and it's just I need to add some color. Like, I love your pink you have on your eyes today. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. About 4 different shades.
Is it about? It's only about 4 different shades. But Sarah can teach you how in her makeup group.
Yeah.
Do you want to share the name of your group?
It's called Cheyenne Artistry Social.
Okay.
So I kind of Cheyenne Artistry is my business, and then I was like, well, it's a learning community, so I added that, the social part, because it is a social learning group. I want to encourage women to feel comfortable that no question is too silly. I've heard it all, or I've asked it in school. So yeah,
about makeup.
Yeah, and it's a closed group, but anybody can find it.
So you have your own business. You work for yourself doing makeup, and you're pretty booked up for the summer. Chances are, if you're getting married and you need a makeup artist, Sarah might not be available.
Yeah, July is completely gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know where you need to go to de-stress when you're working your butt off?
There might be a studio I could go to.
There might be a studio you can come to and get your stretching on, build some strength.
I might have to be like, is the studio open? I'm done at 1:30. I'll pop over.
And you can always just come over for tea too. You can, you know how sometimes you need a debriefing after weddings.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm almost like a wedding junkie because I love it. I love every aspect of it because I'm not in the wedding party, so that stress doesn't affect me. Yeah, I'm like an outsider that gets to be a part of it. So everybody else is running around trying to get everything done, and then I'm just doing my thing. And then
we usually get quite a few wedding parties through the spas, as you know. I don't mind working with them at the spas. They're a little hectic. And some of them are really stressed out, like really stressed out. And it's they're always trying to please the bride. You know, heaven forbid the bride doesn't get what she wants. Does the bride want my nails pink or does the bride want my nails red? Like, please the bride.
Oh my goodness.
Well, the champagne always comes out and the chocolate strawberries, and I like to be a part of it too. But I can feel the stress. I know it's you know, that's why they're there, and especially to keep that bond between them alive, right? Because that's what's really important.
Yeah, you don't want the wedding destroying friendships.
You don't want the wedding destroying friendships. I know my girlfriend was just telling me the other day, she's like, Jesus, I said yes to being in this wedding, and the dress is $200, the hair is $80, they want them all wearing the same bras, $80, and she was just going on and on. She's like, how am I gonna do all this? Like, I can't believe what I've gotten myself into. It's just, and then they have to pay for this fancy. We're at the resort, they have to pay for the room, and it's just going on and on. I'm like, oh, maybe that's a good thing I haven't been asked to be in any weddings lately, because I'm pretty selfish when it comes to spending money these days. Well, you have to be when you have kids, and you have to take care of your little tribe first, right?
Yeah.
But so weddings, and I've actually used to be on somebody's call list, because I used to get invitations to go and or calls to go and teach private yoga. Like, I've done quite a few private yogas for weddings, where I'll show up at the house or the resort, and either the wedding party or the whole group. I've done lots of private yogas too, on top, aside from working at the spa with wedding groups over the last, I've been in the spa industry for 2 years and 9 months. Doing my thing.
Oh, yeah. That would actually be a really good thing for them to do in the morning.
Yoga.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I've had them all come out from like the Fairmont Resort in their white robes, and we'll meet on the grass and just try to breathe. And, even just the breathing concept when it's a pretty stressful event for some people.
Yeah.
The whole the day before,
Yeah, I've been lucky so far, knock on wood, that a lot of my brides have been very relaxed and they haven't been stressed out. But I think it's just because, they have a team helping them too. So they usually delegate a little bit better.
Yeah, it's great to have people supporting you. Are you guys married yet?
No.
When are you going to get married?
Don't know.
No plans yet?
No, our focus is building a house.
Yeah. We
kind of like wedding, house.
We got married a few years ago, and I have to say I had a strong team of supporters, and that's what made it all happen. People that supported, the bridal getaway and the bridal party, and
yeah, I already delegated my one friend. I'm like, if I ever get married, you're doing everything, because she's like that type A personality.
Yeah.
Where she's very organized and will actually get stuff done. So I'm like, you can plan everything. Just tell me when to show up.
Yeah. That's what you need. You need type A's in your life. Even if you are type A, but for times where you just need to...
You have to hand over the control a little bit, just so you can enjoy the day too.
Yeah. So other than your online groups, do you have anything else that's motivating you and inspiring you? Like, who do you draw upon for your inspiration and motivation?
Well, Regina's group, but I also have started to network more on social media, because my little circle is pretty small, and I wanted to expand that. And being a mom, I'm just like, I don't know that many other people, and being in Radium, I rarely get into Invermere. So all those play dates, I'm like, nope, can't make it, sorry. So I went online, and I'm starting to network with more people, and they come from all backgrounds, different companies, different careers, and just connecting with other people in different areas is what keeps me going as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you draw a lot from being in the social circle. I was having an interview with one of the gals from town here, Nat. Was it yesterday or the day before? And yeah, she says, I can tell, you really always have that circle of friends around you. You always draw upon that social influence. And I'm a firm believer in community. It's like having the A-type personality as a good friend. A community is social support is so important, whether you're working out together or arranging play dates for kids, or in similar interests like business. It's so important to have people that understand you and to help you to be more of who you are.
Yeah, and I know in businesses, things like color personalities or personality types, and I'm starting to learn about that, and it's like, oh, Well, that makes sense because I can see the different personalities from my close friends, and it's pretty balanced. And then it's like, I need to find some people that are in this category, like that have stronger skills than me, and then I might be able to help them with my skills, because building your tribe and just bringing in more people and
figuring out your blind spots is really, really a cool thing, right?
yeah.
And I've been over the years a super sensitive person, and I've been learning to be less sensitive, like to not take things as personal and to take, critical, constructive criticism easier. And so I've kind of been looking for that more, to learn more about myself, just to feel more empowered as a human, right? And I've definitely felt more and more mindful, like the more you focus on mindfulness rather than, taking life so serious. Like you can take life serious, but in a compassionate way, but also try to be more funny about life, right? Like that's kind of been my perception, where I've been like trying to be more playful and fun and not take it so damn serious and be more mindful, so that you understand other people have a right to see the way that they do. And that's okay for them to feel that way or see that way. But it has nothing to do with you. Like you can see one way, and just because you guys don't see the same way, that's okay.
Definitely a lesson. It took me a while to learn.
Right? Oh, finally light's going on. And I'm just saying I'm starting to understand it now. I'm not saying I'm going to come from that highest place of integrity every time.
It takes work. It just doesn't happen. You can't just flick a switch and be...
But that's kind of where I feel like I am with my personal development. And I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday and telling her, like, since I closed my old studio, so I had Hot Spring Studio for 5 years, and then was just at the spa for a year. So I've only had this studio now since October, half a year. And I've already seen myself evolve as a human, spiritually and emotionally, compared to like the interactions I had at the old studio, right? Where what's happening at this studio is far more authentic, and like the connections that are coming out here are so beautiful. And I'm taking things, like I said, less and less personal. So I'm feeling myself not needing to react in lower, I want to say lower frequency, but that might not make sense for people.
Yeah.
Like just less than love ways, less than loving, where, if you have hurt feelings, it sometimes just isn't necessary to be, to have a temper tantrum. Where, that's the way you're used to reacting. And it's like, okay, you don't have to have the temper tantrum, just goes on and affects your kids. It affects everybody. It's just so much better to be positive and optimistic and just like let it roll off your shoulder, right? Like just...
Yeah. Well, it's also good to come from a place where assume it has nothing to do with you as a person, that there's might be something else that's happening and you have no idea, and maybe that's what triggered their bad day and their bad response to whatever the situation was.
Yeah. And something else I've learned is, if something does make you react, don't respond, because until you're in a place of calm, it's not going to come out the right way for anybody, right? So insert a pause.
Yeah.
Like, let me get back to you. I'm really working on that. Like, let me get back to you. And if something agitated me, I'm easily agitated. I don't know if everybody is. I'd like to say everybody is, but I don't know. Maybe some people have their, shit under control. But for me, I get agitated easily sometimes. And it's like, I'm just learning to not respond. And until I'm in a place of that love and trust again, then I can come back, and then it's so much easier to discuss things, right? Yeah. From just a place of higher understanding and compassion. And that's kind of what I mean by lower vibration, like lower energies, is when you're in a place of agitation or frustration or anger or even depression. Like if you're having a bad day, I have to say this has been one of my happiest years of my life. Like life is good. Everything's going good. My mindset's positive. I'm getting a lot of fortunate experiences and encounters, and I'm really on track, I would say. And it makes a huge difference. But, yeah, so when you're coming from a place of when you're not feeling as on track and you're feeling kind of sad, you know, I've been there.
Yeah.
And I actually do know a lot of people who are struggling with sadness and anxiety. I mean, that could be another hot topic for another day. I don't know if you know anybody, but
Oh yeah.
you know, and so it's like, put your game face on and you got to discover what it is you're passionate about, because nobody on the outside of you can help you to feel happy again. You know, nobody can say anything because anyone could give you a compliment, but if you're feeling like shit on the inside, you're not going to receive it.
Yeah. Like, one of the videos that Regina did was talking about actually accepting compliments. Mm-hmm. And she touched on the whole fact that in most cases, women particularly, they go, thank you, and then they put an excuse after the thank you. And it's like, stop it. Like, stop dismissing the compliments, because that's what you're doing. And it's awkward for the other person because they're like, I was trying to like do something good and now you're brushing it off, or now it's just awkward. So, and then that comes with like personal development and working on yourself and getting into a better mindset as well. And I know that last year I made all about my own health, and that was harder on other people than it was me, because they're like, what are you doing? Why are you spending so much time on yourself? Like why are you always reading, or whatever random thing I was doing? And it was like, well, I had to get myself healthy again and mentally, like just not physical. And I knew it was going to take more than like 6 weeks or 4 weeks. So I actually dedicated the entire year on improving the health. And a lot of people don't realize that mindset and mental health plays a huge part on that. So
where do you draw upon your like personal development? Do you do any other studies or?
I've started to dabble in a little, like, I started to dabble into learning more about Reiki and frequencies, and that I'm totally new, so that's not a topic I can really talk about yet, because I'm still learning even just the basics. But I really knew that for most of my life I wasn't even at like a medium level of feeling decent or feeling good or feeling okay. And I knew that operating in that frequency, in that level of being, that's what brought on all my health issues too. And I knew that, like, doctors will think I'm crazy, but like, I knew that being in that place of negativity triggered everything as well. So I was like, okay, I became a student basically for a year, where I was like, tell me where to start, how do I make this shift happen? And I read so many books and looked into so many things, and yeah, so.
Well, what I've understood from the books that I've read, and as you know, I teach Reiki too. I've been doing Reiki for 18 years, so I love, my brain just lit up when I'm like, you're doing Reiki, yay!
Baby steps.
Baby steps, yeah. But my theory is compassion. And it has to be to yourself, from yourself, for yourself, first and foremost. You know, love, accept, approve, forgive. Let go of all those resentments and just find that place of compassion. And that's when you can start to connect, you know, to those higher states of understanding. Mm-hmm. But it has to be self-compassion before, first and foremost. So you saying I'm taking a year for my health, like, that is such a healthy statement. That is so beautiful. And that was what you needed to do. Like, you needed to, you know, create that personal space and that statement and that awareness. And you need to hold on to that. That needs to empower you. And noticing how far we progressed is so huge, right?
Yeah, I easily get down on myself and be like, start judging how far, how much more I need to go or get done and stuff. And then I just had to take a step back and realize that 5 years ago, I was told I would be in a wheelchair by now. So
what was happening 5 years ago? What have I missed?
After Brooke, I think our daughters have the same birth year.
Yeah.
The summer she was born, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I was one of the lucky Canadians that got diagnosed. I was diagnosed within 3 months of my initial big flare or episode, but when I was in the active flare and going through all that, there was no support outside of medicine. Like, there was no support with the mental aspect of getting a diagnosis like that. There was no guide on like changing your diet or supplementation or even meditation or anything. It was do the drugs and hope for the best.
So you're talking like there was nothing from your doctor other than this is what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for me, I was just like, no, like, I'm not going to accept this, no, like, obviously, like, I am a firm believer that something triggered it, like something that I won't ever know, but I believe that my health and mental health just triggered it. Like, it finally broke my body, basically. Like, my body was just like, and you're stopping. This is it. Like, this is your smoking gun, basically.
Yeah.
And then it took probably a good 2.5 years for me to deal with all the emotions of it and the half-ass attempts at doing better, like with my diet and stuff, because it was like going through almost like the 7 emotions of like losing somebody. Like, you're in denial and you're trying to grieve and you're trying to bargain and all of that. And it took a long time for me to be like, okay, enough is enough. Get your shit together. Like, whatever you're doing isn't working, and now it's time to move forward. And then that's when I decided to dedicate that year to myself and to my health and to figure out what the heck was going on. And because I also didn't want to give up doing wedding makeup. Like, I didn't want to give that up because that was what, like, fuels my soul. It makes me happy. And I was like, if I don't take control, I'm not going to be able to do that. And then I'm going to have to stop. And I was like, I'm too young to retire.
Yeah, like you're not 40 yet. No, you're a baby still.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 32 this year.
Oh, you are so lucky to be so young. And so, did you get on the paleo diet then, or?
I looked into it.
Yeah.
It's kind of, what most people with MS go on, but a lot of the foods that are allowed on it trigger my inflammation. So, unlike our friend Jolene, red meat and bacon and all that triggers my inflammation. So being strictly paleo would look way different for me.
Okay, because I had no idea that you actually knew Jolene as well. And so I've been hearing her stories about how she cured her MS through diet and exercise. And I'm pretty sure I saw you used to share some paleo recipes and such too. So I was just thinking, oh, maybe that's what Sarah did too.
Yeah, so with the diet, like, I know she's done amazing. Like, she basically pushed her MS into remission, which is like everybody's goal. Like, nobody wants to deal with a flare. And with diet, that again was never brought up. Right. I asked, I went to the meetings, but it was just brushed off. It was just a holistic approach to disease isn't there's no green light for it, basically. Like, nobody wants to talk about that side. And me and Jolene, we actually follow the same doctor, Dr. Walls, who did, I think it's 3 or 4 stages of the paleo diet. And it's for the autoimmune diseases. So not just MS, but Parkinson's and Crohn's and you name it, it'll probably benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
So me and her connected. We actually connected because we're one of the only 2 women in the Valley with MS.
Oh,
So
interesting.
if there's more of you, let us know.
Let us know. There you go. And they're Sarah and Jolene are both going to be connected to us through our social media sites because Sarah's links will be here. And Jolene, actually, I have Jolene listed right on our website. She does nutrition talks here at the studio, and you could also hire her to help you to create nutritional menus and to figure out, you know, what you're trying to get from your life, what type of diet is most suitable for you. Because not, like you said, not every diet is suitable for every person, right? Depending on what you want, what you need, or, you know, what your body is telling you. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had no idea. But
Sorry to bring it on you.
no, it's okay. Thanks for sharing that with us. It's something personal. And I'm glad that you've grown and flourished. So you're then in remission now, or?
Well, it's been, let's see if I can remember. It's been just over a year since my last MRI. Mm-hmm. My last MRI showed active lesions. So the MS at that time, so like a year and a half ago, it was active. Mm-hmm. But like right now I'm feeling good, and that's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah.
Because this year, like you mentioned, this year has been the best year that I've felt emotionally, physically. Like it's a good year. Knock on wood. Like,
intellectually, spiritually, and that's like the whole theory behind Reiki as well. Is like when something is showing up in your body, what's happening on an emotional, mental, or spiritual level.
Yeah.
That's holistic. So it's being willing to look for the cause of the problem without looking directly at the problem. It's like digging deeper into how is this what is happening in my whole body system, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, that is creating this imbalance, right? Because it starts out here before it comes to here.
Yeah. Basically, by the time an autoimmune disease is like turned on, mm-hmm. your body is a hot mess. Because I haven't talked to a single person with MS that was completely healthy their entire life. Like they might be running triathlons, they might be an athlete, but their diet was off. They were eating something that was unknown to them was an allergy or severe, like it was just causing troubles, or emotionally, or they went through trauma.
Bad relationships.
Yes.
Like relationships are key when you're looking at your health. Is this relationship
childhood trauma?
Is this relationship supporting my well-being, or
yeah,
you know, is it harmful to me?
Yeah, and I know that the whole idea that it gets turned on is like is not a popular opinion, but like the more I talk to people, I was like, well, you don't see healthy people with autoimmune diseases. You just don't. So,
and it's usually the people with the strongest mindset that get through like the breast cancer or, you know, different things like MS or even depression. I'm sorry, it does a lot of it. A lot of the healing comes from, you know, it's like cognitive behavioral therapy. So where you take the way you're thinking and you take control of that. And it affects the way you feel, because then you start to implement that choice of reaction and response. And, you know, mindfulness is really key when you're working on learning how to tame your emotions. And meditation is so important because it actually tames that part of the brain that is malfunctioning, right? So different things that'll trigger your parasympathetic response when we're in stress response. So you want to learn how your body... how to relax your body. So yoga doesn't work for everybody. You know, for some people it's a walk in nature, or like for people like you and I, it's a conversation with a friend, or just having that kinsmanship, right? Where you have that common connection, or, you know, you got to figure out what it is that will support your connection and relaxation to life. Like, so you're not freaking out, because it's usually when you're in that freak out, everything is pissing me off. Why is everything happening to me? You know, when you notice that you don't have control over the agitations and the emotional outbreaks, right?
Oh yeah, all too familiar. And then That's why I started to look at Reiki, because of the cognitive responses too, and because with MS you get the explosive behaviors, you get the heightened emotions, you get the stuff that nobody really talks about. Like when people talk about MS, it's usually a wheelchair, mobility issues, all this, and it's like there's a whole other realm like that nobody's talking about, and mental health and all that. So I started to turn my whole healing process over to the holistic approach, because I was like, I could take the drugs, I could do this, I could do that, but what good is that if I'm just suppressing it and it exploding when I'm like 60 or 70 or 80 when I don't have the same supports? Like no, like I do not want that.
Yeah, one of my previous guests was just telling me how his mom, after many years of Crohn's, started meditation and put that into remission. So yeah, there's so much to be said, and the more we can talk and share our conversation and share our story with other people, it gives them permission to figure it out for themselves too. Like take responsibility almost, like ask more questions.
Yeah. And that was another reason behind me going live so much, was I was like, well, I'm going to talk about it because nobody else is talking about it, and nobody else is talking about it about beyond the physical stuff, like beyond what you can see with MS. So I started the lives, I started talking about it, I started sharing like everything, and yeah, a lot of people were like, we had no idea you have MS. I'm like, well, I'm not in a wheelchair, I don't use a cane. I'm like, MS doesn't have to be physical. So
yeah, keep sharing your story, and because it will empower you to take control of your perception of it. I just noticed too, when people, like you said, first get diagnosed, it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
And if only we could just not identify with that diagnosis. Like, hi, I'm Pam. I have, depression or whatever it is that if I was diagnosed with, and then all of a sudden.
Oh, I'm so bad at that. Like, I'm still like, I get called out on that, where it's like, Sarah, like, yeah, the MS is there, but you're more than your MS. It's like your identity isn't wrapped up in just having MS. Mm-hmm. And then it's like,
there's so much to be said about like our empowering statements about ourselves and our belief in ourselves. And that's key, is just having that power of belief and faith, right? So when you believe in yourself and your own abilities so that your body can naturally heal itself, because your body can, anybody's body can heal itself given the right environment. So how your body is responding to the environment is so key. That's what I've understood. So when I invite somebody to the studio for open mic for music or for yoga or for a massage or a facial, I'm providing a supportive environment for them to do their own healing. It's the same thing with Reiki. If you said, Pam, I want to come in for a Reiki healing session, let's say, come on over. Your body is responding to the environment. So it's not some kind of magic that I have. I just know how to hold space for your body to come into alignment and to tap into what it needs to start flowing properly and reconnecting and releasing and relaxing. Because the more our bodies relax, the body heals itself. But it can't start healing itself if it's in the sympathetic or in stress response. So if something is freaking you out, like if you're broke, or if you found out that you're sick, or if your spouse is cheating on you, or whatever it is that you found out and your body's like, oh my God, stressed out, like I'm freaking out, right? So if you're in that state of panic all the time, then your body actually starts to attack itself, which creates all the autoimmune or triggers that those imbalances or diseases in the body, right? So your heart goes faster, your guts are upset, your blood sugar levels spike, your mind isn't thinking properly, like you're actually not perceiving things properly. So more things make you upset because you're not thinking clearly, and your emotions react in a crazy way because you actually have no way to calm, like no calming mechanism. Also, your body starts to store the toxins.
Oh, yeah.
like the cortisol or whatever else the brain releases when it's under stress, right?
Yes.
So there's all those different levels. So if you start noticing that you're getting stressed out, and if it's happening over and over and over again, it's a cycle, it's a pattern. Sometimes we'll actually start recreating the pattern over and over again, because sadly some people get addicted to the cortisol and the adrenaline that gets released when they're panicking or freaking out or stressed out. We can actually become addicted to those.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can heal addictions through understanding about like your self-esteem and your ego, right? So that's all connected to your intelligence and your mental activity. So the thoughts we tell ourselves. So cognitive behavioral therapy is when we start telling ourselves things, even if they're not true, but they make us feel good, because your body responds with better hormones like dopamine and whatever those serotonins are, and your body starts to feel euphoric and ecstatic and connected, and as it relaxes, the heart calms down, the blood sugars normalize, your thoughts become clearer, and your brain actually can see things for what they are instead of making things up, because it's like when you're in the stress response, you think there's a bear in the room when there isn't.
Yeah.
But your body thinks there is, right? So that's kind of what I've learned. So when you're coming into a healing environment and you get a practitioner who's in a calm state, in their parasympathetic relaxed state already, because your practitioner takes care of herself. She does yoga every day. She eats well. She has a nurturing home environment. She does all the things that she knows that supports her relaxation response. So she feels good, right?
Yeah. That actually, all the Reiki practitioners I know are so mellow, so calm, so nice. I'm just like, teach me.
It comes from who you surround yourself with, because we adapt, like we absorb information and people, right? So when you're tuning into Reiki, or you're doing a lot of yogic breathing, or going out into nature a lot, just feeling really nourished by your environment, you're in a different place in your brain, like an actual physical place, not just mindset, not your thoughts, your consciousness, but you're in a part of your brain. So like when you're talking about makeup, your brain is lighting up. There's a different part of your brain that is just like, woo, and you're releasing feel-good hormones, right? There's also another place in the brain that is really activated in people who are always connecting to source and drawing in more of the universal life force. So it activates a different, like scientifically it's been proven that we're functioning from a different part of our brain than someone who is rushing all the time and mad all the time and panicking, or, like even creativity is a different part too, right, of your brain. But when you're in the influence of somebody who has that part of the brain functioning optimally, your brain is triggered. So it takes you out of that part of the brain that sometimes is not the best place for people, like when we're in survival mode. So survival mode is not very healthy.
Yeah, it's not supposed to stay on.
It's not supposed to stay on. When you're having babies and such, there's a different part of your brain that's on again. And it's a really healthy part. That's why your body releases all the good stuff. You feel really good, But as soon as the babies are kind of out and forcing you to do more, like you're on demand, and then if you don't take time for self-care, you go out of that part of the nurturing part of the brain and again into survival mode because you're stressed out. So there's so much to be said. Women who have just had babies, especially if you had your first one, but if you've had that second one, God, join a gym or join a group that empowers you to feel good about yourself, whatever it is that makes you feel good. If it's yoga or learning how to do makeup, you got to take care of yourself. Like you really got to put your oxygen mask on and empower yourself through compassion and passion, like compassion for yourself, but passion towards life, right? Something that is for you, by you, from you. So something like painting a picture, right? And if painting feels good,
Yeah,
because it helps you to express, right? But there's a grandfather clock theory. So if there's a grandfather clock in the room and it's ticking, tuck, 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 and it starts to slow down. So it starts to not work properly. It's starting to lose its ability to keep track of time. And if you bring another grandfather clock into the room that is ticking and talking at the right speed and keeping time, the one that's not working will start to reflect the one that's working, if that makes sense. So if my cells are healthy, your cells can mimic and mock the healthy cells. So whether that's my healthy cells or the healthy cells around it, like your cells are really, really, really smart. So it's just like your brain. If my part of my brain's working that's really good and healthy, that takes care of me and helps my body to heal, then your part, when you tap into me or come into my space, like right now we're totally in each other's space, right? Like we're connected and likely we're reflecting a lot of likeness. So what's happening good for you is happening good for me kind of thing. And what's happening good for me, because you've given your body permission, is to be here right now. And so you're naturally absorbing as well and triggering, what's feeling good in me too, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. They actually do the grandfather clock theory, but for twins.
Oh.
So if they're in the NICU and one is not doing well, they'll actually co-bed. And then the healthy twin improves the sick one.
Well,
it's like the energy. It's like, but of course they don't call it that. But it's the same. What you're saying.
Yeah.
They're mimicking the healthy cells, and
it's science.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with your spouse. Your spouse, as you heal yourself, as you give yourself permission to heal and to evolve, your spouse naturally, without taking the Reiki course or without taking the makeup group, when you feel good and you come out of there, your spouse will have that same experience energetically. Or your children, it's called somatic. So your children are connected through your brain, through your limbic system. So when you're in a place of peace and harmony, your children don't even have to be in the same room with you. And they'll be reflecting what's happening with you through your brain. Through your central nervous system, you'll be signaling them to feel peace and harmony. Isn't that cool?
That is. I love science.
I know. And so that's why I always remind myself that taking care of myself is so important, because I want my kids to flourish and have a healthy future, and feel confident and, get the best out of life. And so we have to almost pave the way by continually staying in that place of peace and mindfulness and compassion. And you know what? In turn, everything in the world, I hate to take it to that bigger, ooh, but perception, I've read and I've been told, and I'm learning to believe, because it's a lot for me to understand too, the interconnectedness of everything, that as we heal and grow, that everybody else is also receiving that same space and permission to ascend, like you say, that was that you just talking about the big shift? No.
Yeah.
Was it you who just talked about the big shift? So yeah, and that's what the big shift is all about. Collectively, we're going forward together. So there's a collective of people going in another way. There's a collective of egotistical mofos going in another way.
Yeah.
And then there's a group of us that are what is that word? Not collaborating. Yeah, collaborating energetically. So we actually have a collective consciousness that we're all, and that's how Reiki works as well, is there's a collective energy of Reiki. There's a collective energy with the symbols that we tap into. The Tibetan healing symbols that we learn in Reiki have a consciousness of their own. So the more you tap into that level of healing, also known as the Bodhisattva path to nirvana. So as you tap in collectively to the group of people that are focusing on that level of healing, you'll receive that. It's like a doorway. It's like an energetic imprint into higher consciousness, right? So it's really cool stuff. I love learning about it, and it's like a science project, and I feel like I really love to learn about myself and, how I respond to life every day. And I especially love to help other people to see how easy it is to tap in and tune in to allowing their bodies to heal themselves, like how easy it can be done naturally. Not really sometimes when it's at a place of real chronic imbalance. It takes more time than just easy and naturally.
Yeah.
But
And that's another thing. Like, I actually had to remove myself from a lot of the support groups because the energy in them is I was like, no. Like, it's very hard to get out of that place of depression and the woe was me
victim.
And the victim mentality.
Yeah.
It's easy to get pulled in, but it's even harder to get yourself out. And I was like, I work too damn hard.
This is not the mindset I want.
Was just like, good luck. And connect with me if you're done with this group. But otherwise, no. Because, and it's also, when you mentioned the collective, it was most of the people that I now work with or collaborate with, we don't have that mindset of scarcity. We're not terrified that if somebody's going to be more successful than us, then that means we're not going to do well. Like, that mindset shift is no longer there. And I feel like more people, if they got to that point, would realize that it's a good thing to be cheering on people when they have their wins.
No, I get it. That's that whole other ego, that victim, that wanting to make people look less than them so they feel bigger and better. That there's a whole other level of consciousness, and we have to ascend and just keep on learning through trial and error. Forgive those people. Don't hold on to that resentment, but learn from their level of consciousness to ascend, and pray for them to ascend. But in the meantime, just ascend yourself. Like, that's how you learn. You only want to treat people like you want to be treated, and work together.
Yeah.
Be in service. How can I help that other yoga studio out front, or whatever, how can I, I always have an open door. I always invite other yoga teachers in. I don't feel like they're going to steal clients from me. Or same with Reiki, right? When, I worked with training somebody in Reiki and they said, well, aren't you worried about having other Reiki practitioners in the Valley? I'm like,
all the better. The Valley needs it.
Heaven's sakes, you'll attract the people that are your tribe and where you have the best working relationships, right? And they'll attract their people. But Reiki and yoga, everybody needs to do it. Yeah. There are no doors that should be closed for people to receive and to give those healing modalities, because it's all just honoring, yourself and your connection, and coming into a better understanding of what that connection is for you, not having someone define it for you, and just learning how to enhance your energy so your body feels more vital, more vitality, and then can start to take care of itself better. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no, everybody should be becoming certified and offering yoga and Reiki as far as I'm concerned. Everybody should be supporting people to do that, because it's just a better mindset. Using the principles, both in yoga and Reiki, we have principles, right? So when you're applying those principles every day, just for an example, the first principle of Reiki, as you would know, is to stop worrying. Just for today, do not worry. Why? What does worry do to us? Stresses us out. Yeah. Stress is everybody is starting to figure it out, that stress is the igniter of disease. And and both of the sets of principles really highlight the way we think and what we say and what we do, how our actions are displayed. So what we do daily, but how we serve other people. Like you were saying earlier, that's the key. That's the key to the kingdom, is service, being in true aligned service, selfless service, especially with your family. But, next in line would be, your community, to how can I help out more, you know? How can I show public compassion without expecting anything in return from that? So compassion is number one, and I believe service is number two, for just summing up all the universal principles of enlightenment, right? So do you believe that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I never really like understood like what it was before I started the whole like, okay, like Sarah, you have to get stuff under control, you have to reach out, you have to start finding answers, or at least get guided into the direction. And yeah, it was like, oh, this is exactly what I was looking for.
I have a quick example just from life experience. Like, I'll tell you, Sarah, I've had a pretty easy life. And when I turned 40, from the time I was 40 until today, 42, I've had a series of events where so many people have gotten ill, so many people have died. It's just like, I'm kind of complicated stress over death, but I'm dealing with it. Like, I'm going to a bereavement group, and I'm communicating with people when my stress has come up about what's been going on with health issues, or, people dealing with traumatic experiences, like very good friends that are, dealing with a lot of death or traumatic experiences. And one example I have is that there's two women, one is young, one is old, both same type of breast cancer diagnosis. The older one went and did all the walks and met groups with people healing through breast cancer and communicating with the family about what they were going through and how they were feeling. The younger one locked herself in the room, didn't let anyone come visit, she died. And the older one is still living a happy life. And to me, that just is like total proof that it has everything to do with social support and mindset.
Yeah.
It's believing in your abilities to heal yourself, and it's having that willingness and that vulnerability to let other people in and support you through your journey. And that's where the magic is having people that you can share your story with and find, like that kinsmanship or that support and that understanding and the encouragement to keep pursuing like the positive path. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, some people, if they say it's frou-frou, you can't disprove something that's actually proven, right? Like when you see it in your life and people that you know,
yeah,
how they change and they just radiate, like a strong presence when they have that mindset to overcome whatever obstacles, whether it's being broke or being sick or losing a loved one or, like you have to keep putting your best self forward and finding a way to rise up from, the things that sometimes really hurt us. Yeah. I don't know. I could keep going on and on. I'm so passionate about, just from my own learning experience, but also to help other people with their spiritual growth or their personal development, right? Mm-hmm. To continue. And like I said, I wanted to talk to you to learn more about what motivates you. And now I know a little bit more about Sarah.
Yeah. I guess the surprise. Yep. But yeah, I like with the mindset and all that, I was determined not to, I wouldn't say self-sabotage, but like bring it into existence, because I was like, yeah, I guess in most cases that happens, but probably most people just basically shut up and do what the doctor says. And I was like, no, like I knew there was deeper issues going on. I knew I had to figure it out, like diet, mental, like the whole thing. Like I knew, I just didn't know how. And then that set me on the whole year of figuring it out, connecting with people that I had most of my close friends now, I didn't know them 3-4 years ago. And yeah, it really pushed me, and I was determined that I wouldn't allow what initially was told to come true. And I think I'm doing pretty good.
All the power to you, girl. I'm so happy to hear about your success and to see your continued success, and let me know how I can support you moving forward as well. I would gladly take some makeup sessions for some yoga, or if you want to do some trainsies. But like I said, yoga doesn't work for everybody. You don't know until you try.
Well, I'm just out of practice when it comes to yoga.
Are you? You're not doing any yoga at home?
No. I do meditation at night. I usually try for 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how much quiet time I can get.
Good for you. That's yoga. Yeah, yoga is a big component of it, is connecting and meditation and taking time to relax, but not go to sleep.
Yeah.
The more you train your mind to relax, to get into that state, then we have more control over the mind throughout the day.
So now it's just I have to get into the movement part.
Yeah. Well, join the movement here at Shasta Wellness Studio. Thanks for coming and sharing your story with us today, Sarah. And we'll attach your links to the video.
Sounds good.
So, thanks for watching.
Thank you.